Hello.
Hello, everyone. It's an honor and pleasure to be here with you, and also to be here with my mom, with my amazing Matilda mom, who's Matilda Laughing Waters, and we are in Idaho at Nine Muses, and I asked her to join us. She is a medicine woman and in her own right, and she's also been in right relationship with the earth for such a long time, and creating a relationship with the earth that is meaningful and good and true and lasting. And so I'm so grateful you're here with me today, Mama. And really grateful. And she is one of the moms. The other mom is the Barber mom, who they were twin moms. They called each other the twin moms, which was great. And so it's really beautiful to have you here. And so I would like to do a prayer, Mom, for the earth and for what's happening. And would you like to do a prayer for us today? And
Oh, you want me to do the prayer?
If you'd like to.
Oh, my goodness. Well, okay. Great Spirit, Wakantanka. I thank you so much for this beautiful earth. I thank you for the lovely people that have come into my life. And I thank you for this beautiful daughter of mine. I ask you to hold us in your sweet and loving hands and arms as we go through a time of trial, and help us to learn the lessons you are trying to teach us, and that the outcome be as sweet and as wonderful as we pray for. Aho Matakuyasan.
Aho Matakuyasan. Thank you, Mama. It's so beautiful. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
So, I started doing this because I was thinking about my students and spring break. And so I started doing these as kind of a love letter to them during the spring break. And now the spring break is over and we're engaging. People had wondered if I could continue doing them. And so I have. And so the original intention was around being able to connect even during the break. And then it's kind of evolved into this talking about real medicine.
Oh,
and what is real medicine, and so I would like to ask you that question, like what is real medicine for you?
For me, what is it? Well, that is such a huge question, of course, because but real medicine for me in my everyday life, the medicine that I live with from day to day to day, is the simple things, the simple things. That moment or a few moments of meditation in the morning of being grateful that I'm alive and that I'm here on this earth, and just getting myself going. That cup of tea in the morning is part of my meditation. It's part of me getting started, and it's part of gratitude, because I think that without gratitude and joy, then medicine, it's just a lot of work. I think that my personal medicine every day is just being surprised and happy with the day. The snowstorm that happens, and I want to go out and stand in the storm and stick my tongue out and catch flakes on my tongue, and my silly little cat laying on her back and begging for attention. Those are deeply gratifying, and they're gifts from the Spirit. And so I think that my daily simple medicine is being grateful for the small things and the big things too, but mostly being grateful for the small things that happen. A warm pair of slippers, a new shirt that I forgot I bought, And I had a teacher one time who said that being grateful for the small things was practice for being grateful for the big things.
Mm. Oh, interesting.
So I really, and I'm not saying I don't have grumpy days when I'm having to
Yeah.
really search for something to be grateful for, not because of the outside, because of what's going on inside me.
Mm.
But I I just am really practicing really hard to become ceremony, and I think that's how
Oh, yeah.
I think that's my way of doing it, is
Mhm.
just being grateful, and remembering what the source of all this beautiful thing, all the beautiful things
Mm.
that we have.
That's so beautiful. One of the ways, Mom, that I see you in ceremony a lot is in your garden, in the planting
Mhm.
of things. And then also, when we were younger and even now, through the food that we eat and the celebration, as you're saying, to make of my life a ceremony, I think
Mhm.
about, oh, the way that we eat and,
Yeah.
the nurture and the wild crafting. It's the modern, term now, I guess, for, getting your
Yeah,
food from
wild crafting was it was a
wild.
yeah, it's a term that we use too.
Mhm, mhm. So yeah, it's a good
Yeah,
it's a good one. It's a real one. Wild crafting. It
yeah.
sounds so good.
Yeah, Mother Earth is really a
Mhm.
huge source of my of my practice, my of being, if you want to call it a practice. I really think that it's more of a way of life. That planting planting gardens and loving the plants. I love to talk to my plants.
Mm.
I love to sing to my plants, and um, I even take the singing bowl out and play to my plants. And yeah, I really today I planted some bulbs and some
Oh,
seeds,
how fun.
and it was really lovely.
Mm.
And it was thundering, and it was so exciting.
Oh,
I
yeah,
mean,
the thunder was
I was
great.
really enjoying myself planting bulbs and seeds, and the thunder was just going in, and it was fun,
Mm.
and that just reminds me of Great Spirit, and just the power and the majesty of nature.
Mm.
And I like eating wild when I can.
Yeah,
So yeah.
that's beautiful, Mama. And so my other question, I was thinking about preserving things and the
Mhm.
preservation of things, and what is it that you think uh, would be worth preserving? Like, I mean, for me, I think of the traditions, and I think of
Mhm.
the seasons that you've taught me so well, and I think of that both you and Barbara taught me so well, and I think of the different rites of passage that we have, and
Yes.
that those are all absolutely necessary to preserve and to care for and to cultivate, even you know
Mhm.
to preserve what is ancient, uh, and then to also look at, well, what has worked from that time. What is it that has worked and what is working, and how can we uh, continue to cultivate and to preserve what has the most meaning.
In traditions, I love
Mhm.
old traditions. I think that when I look at a ceremony, and I look at ceremonies for one thing is teaching me how to be in everyday life.
Mm.
I think that for me, I do ceremonies because so then I know what it feels like to be in ceremony, and working at transferring that to my everyday life. That feeling of just so that I might be working really hard, or talking to someone, but in the quiet moments, I can fall back into that feeling of being so connected.
Mm. Oh yeah, being
So
so connected.
so
Yeah.
that's what I really love about ceremonies, and why I think they're really important is that they teach us how to be, and what to strive for in your life. Is that there's no reason why you can't take a walk and be in that beautiful prayerful state that you are in ceremony. And I do believe that cooking is a wonderfully ceremonial. I think everything is ceremonial. What taking care of your body is ceremonial. So and it's a lot in the attitude. And so I don't know if I've answered your question. Have I?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Oh,
And
okay,
we're in the answering of it, and
okay.
it's very sweet. Hi, Shante. Shante says hello, grandmother.
Oh,
Hello, Shante and Inga and
oh,
Jason. Hi, you guys, and thank you for joining us. They're sending you love, Mama.
I like that. There's some ancient ceremonies that I think need to be saved in their form.
Mm-hmm.
There's there when I'm taught a ceremony such as the Lakotas taught me the ceremony of putting people on the hill. I don't change that. It's worked for thousands of years, and I try very hard to keep that basic ceremony. I keep saying, don't change it, don't subtract, don't add, don't subtract, don't add. But I also have my own personal ceremonies, and I think that's where the ancient ceremonies probably came from. Is it worked so well for someone, they shared it, and then it just began to build. So if I'm gifted a ceremony, I keep it the way it is because I'm not smart enough to know how to change it to make it work better.
That's a good point. Yeah, I don't have the brains for that. Yeah, it's not. Yeah,
I don't have that thousands of years of wisdom that ceremony has gathered. So I do, though, have my own little private ceremonies, such as playing the singing bowl for my plants, walking in a certain rhythm. Those are my personal ceremonies. And I'm happy to share those. And who knows, maybe 1,000 years from now, someone will say, making that the springtime ceremony. I don't know. But so
that's interesting.
So I want to honor any ceremony that has come to me from an ancient tradition. I try very hard not to change it and to honor those who came before me and taught that ceremony.
The ancestors.
The ancestors, yes. And I yes, to love the ancestors who came before.
Have given us these ceremonies. Well, Mom, I love you so much.
Oh.
And, of course, since I was born, I love you so much. I know. I'm so grateful that, I'm so grateful that you are my birth mama. And I'm so grateful that I inherited so many beautiful things from you. And so I have so many beautiful things that you have given to me and my legacy. And I'm wondering about, what is the inheritance of healing that you would like to leave behind? What is it that you would like to offer? And of course, I never. What's the inheritance you really want to?
I want people to walk away knowing themselves better. That I've helped them know themselves better. That one of my favorite prayers that I often say to people is, may you become what God had in mind when you were born. And that's really my goal, is for me to become what God had in mind when I was born, but to help others discover that, because I think it's really the essence of what we are. We often get sidetracked. We often get through our own actions or through someone else's, and we often sidetrack by thinking there must be an easier way.
Oh, interesting.
So I think I've learned now, finally, that there really isn't an easier, softer way. That we grow through the burdens as well as through the joys. But always keep your joy, and don't take yourself too seriously. Oh my goodness, you know we're all fallible beings. I like to say that we're divinely flawed.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, divinely flawed.
Yeah,
Oh.
and it's okay. Just get yourself up, brush yourself off, and go at it again. Yeah, I do believe that the Great Spirit is endlessly forgiving.
Mm. Yeah. I feel so held by Creator. I feel so held by
Yeah.
Great Spirit. I feel, so held in the ceremony of life and
Hmm.
just all of these blessings of life. And so in this time, I think, Mom, we're really being called to be in this blessing and
Hmm.
of life and death and that experience of the life death life cycle. And you've been up here. We're in Idaho, you guys. So we've been up here for a
Yeah.
little while. Mom has been up here for a minute or two, 5 months actually.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I love is that you have your little house. You haul your water. You chop your wood. You have a really sustainable life. And I
I
think
do.
that's something we're all wanting to look at right now is, how can we make a sustainable life right now? And
Hmm.
what is it that we need? And maybe like, how can we change our minds to have a more healing lifestyle? Like our lifestyles are not very healing.
And part of that, our ancestors did it, and and we need to do it. I mean, there's a story in the Bible where Joseph, there, in Egypt, they had a lack of food, and droughts, and people were starving, and and Joseph became head of or helper to the Pharaoh. And one of the lessons in there is that you prepare for 7 years because it can go in 7 years. So that's not saying that you have 7 years worth of food, but they did have 7 years worth of grain stored.
Mhm.
So I think that it's smart to have supplies.
Mhm.
That if you want to get through the hard times, you cannot depend on others always. And
Right.
spirit gives you opportunities, and it gives you knowledge. So know how to store. Get yourself some beans and some rice and dried things that are easy to store. Store them properly, and then get some canned food and some dried fruit and dried things like that, and a way to purify your water, and and just be prepared, because it can happen. You think it can't, but we don't know what spirit has in mind, and we are at the end of
The fourth world, yeah.
the fourth world, and it's and we just don't know. So learn how to cook, learn how to cook those basic things, figure out how much you need, and then go out into your neighborhood and learn what's edible. And I'm talking mostly to
Go into
city.
your neighborhood. That's so exciting and find what's
Yeah,
edible. That sounds like
there's so
fun.
many edible flowers and trees and things hanging over. If an apple tree is growing in someone's yard and the limb is hanging over the sidewalk, it's perfectly okay and legal for you to harvest that fruit. So just learn and be able to take care of yourself and your family and your loved ones and your friends.
Hmm.
And it's okay to do that.
Mm.
I have was- I didn't know this virus was coming, of course, but at the beginning, should I tell this?
Yes, Mama,
Oh,
of course.
so when I was preparing for winter, because I get snowed in up here, and I can be snowed in for 3 or 4 months, so I have to have supplies for that. So I kept buying supplies. And I go and I think, oh, I think I need more of that. And I think I need, well, that looks good. And so I just kept buying supplies. And then when I got them all ready to be put away and organized in the cabinet, I realized that I had enough supplies for 3 people to go through the winter. And I went, oh my goodness, I don't know why I got so much food. And now I know I needed it for
Yeah.
for this. This came along, but I'm prepared. I have,
Mhm.
I'm very grateful for the fresh vegetables and things that people bring me. But I am prepared to last a good 6 to 7 months. And that's a short time for me. So I'm going, oh, now I got to get. So, but it was a big relief, and it was good for me to know that I didn't have to worry.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was good for you that you
Yeah.
didn't have to worry.
Yeah, because I was like, okay, I know she's got this, but
Yeah.
does she have this?
Yeah. Oh, I had a lot of people calling me, going, "Are you okay? Do you have enough?" I'm going, "Oh my goodness, I can feed another person."
Or two. Well,
Or
and now
two.
I'm here. No.
You
No.
brought enough for about 3 people. So
Okay, good. Oh, I'm very happy to hear
Yeah.
that.
So, and that it gave me a huge peace of mind,
Mm.
and so I've been using that.
Mm. It's so beautiful. I wanted to read. There's something here from Earth Prayers from Around the World, edited by Elizabeth Roberts and Elias Amadon. It's 365 prayers, poems, and invocations for honoring the earth.
Oh,
And
cool.
I wanted to read this, and I think that in our conversation about preparation and about becoming ceremony, and about I also appreciate that I got to learn from both you and Barbara so many, like, the common ground we all have, like that there's common ground that we all have, and that we all have our ceremonies, or if not ceremonies, rituals. We all, and that there's common ground that we all share. And one of the things I found is that we all share the common ground of prayers and poetry and
Yeah, and music.
and music and
Yeah.
dance, and and that there's so much sacred that needs to be remembered. And so I'm so grateful that you taught me that, and that Barbara taught me that, and that that lives on in me, and I'm hoping I can pass it down to my descendants also. But I really appreciated this. This reminded me a little of this. This is by Stephanie Kaza, and it says, "We live by the sun, we feel by the moon, we move by the stars, we live in all things, and all things live in us. We eat from the earth, we drink from the rain, we breathe of the air. We live in all things live in us. We call to each other, we listen to each other. Our hearts deepen with love and compassion. We live in all things live in us." Mom, would you like to read the rest?
Oh. We depend on the trees and animals. We depend on the earth. Our minds open and with wisdom and insight. We live in all things, and all things live in us. We dedicate our practice to others. We include all forms of life. We celebrate the joy of living and dying. We live in all things. All things live in us. We are full of life. We are full of death. We are grateful for all beings and companions. Oh,
Thank you, Mama, so much. Thank you
Yeah.
for teaching me these things.
You're welcome. Thank you for passing them on. That's been
Beautiful.
Yeah, that has been wonderful to watch.
And so I like to leave everyone with a little practice at the end of
Okay.
each talk. And so is there something that comes to mind that you think might be good for them to practice around their own real medicine, or connecting with what is Wakan, what is sacred, with Creator, Great Spirit, however that is for them?
I think that in our dominant culture, we've been taught that what's sacred has to be complicated and very serious. you know. And I would like to see people make their sacred walk simple and joyful. What works for you, but keep it simple. And we don't have to have complicated rituals. We don't have to. We just need to connect, and we need to connect with our heart, with Mother Nature, and with others. And yes, some of the deeper practices need teaching, and they can be a lot to learn, but when you get to the absolute basic of all of it, it's very simple. So I think that's why I like you not to add and not to subtract. Just keep it simple. Just and rejoice in the simplicity. You know, and then just keep learning. Keep learning. That is so much fun. And I would like to leave. I've been reading Braiding Sweetgrass, and it's taken me 2 years because every time I read 3 or 4 paragraphs,
So good.
I have to stop and think about it for a few weeks. And she's a Native American woman who teaches and is also educated in botany in the Western manner. And so she is working very hard to combine the two. And she will take graduate students out. She'll take them out of the classroom and take them into the mountains and into places where she knows all kinds of wild food grows, and have them build a wickiup and stay in these wickiups. And one of the first questions she asks them is, "Does Mother Earth love you?" And they go, "Well, no, because Mother Earth is this
Oh my
inanimate thing."
gosh, Mom!
Because that is the
Wow.
Western thinking. And she said she used to say, "Well, she would tell them Mother Earth loved you," and they just couldn't picture that because Mother Earth is this inanimate. I don't know how they can think that way, but a lot of people do. So her question is, what if Mother Earth loves you as much as you love Mother Earth? And she would be able to break through to them because they would go, "Oh, what if?" And then they would have a new relationship. So I would like to leave that with you all, this what if? Just what I know how much you all love Mother Earth. What if she loved you as much as you love her? And she does. If you look at all the food she gives. But what if? And really internalize that, not just go, "Oh, that's an interesting thought," but really think about that. Yeah.
Thank you, Mama,
Yeah.
so much.
You're welcome.
And so, what if Mother Earth loves you?
Yeah.
As much as you love Mother Earth, and so I would sit with that question over the next couple of days, and I will look forward to seeing you on Friday. And Mama, thank you so much. I'm so grateful
Oh,
that you
you're
were willing
welcome.
to talk and share your wisdom with everyone, and your elder wisdom. Thank you so much. I love you so much.
I
And
love you too, honey. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you, everyone. Bye bye. It's so fun. It's just, there we go. Yay. Oh, yeah.